Hello my friends, and yes, Azov regiment really goes back to Mariupol. Well, not with infantry forces, not with vehicles, but with lots of the drones, and they published the videos, multiple of them, of how they operate on quite a long range. You see 160 kilometers, that's 100 miles from the Ukrainian front lines. Azov повертается до Mariupol, so Azov returns to Mariupol. That's what they post on their channels. And I would say it's pretty much correct. They use new drones with machine vision that are capable to define the targets and go and hit them very precisely, even without drone operator. Well, you have two options, to leave it go or to control it till the very final moment. Mariupol is here, guys, and Azov is also there with the drones for now. There are multiple of the videos being presented, and Russia is using Mariupol as the main hub for their army, one of the biggest hubs, and that was the idea for Russia actually, to get Mariupol under control to later on advance to the other parts of Ukrainian territories. But Azov, with its resistance in Mariupol, it ruined all of the Russian plans at the opening several months of the war. Russians were halted in Mariupol, their supplies were disturbed, and Russia had to use significant number of the forces trying to occupy Mariupol and Azovstal for a very, very long time. So, of course, Azov guys, they're heroes, and I would say more. As you know, there is this 3-day ceasefire agreed between Putin, Trump and Zelensky, and also the major exchange, 1,000 soldiers on 1,000 soldiers. And it would be awesome, of course, to exchange all of the Azovstal soldiers, all of them, and to give Russia time for their parade. So it would be a great exchange, because Russia still keeps the most of the Azovstal defenders in their captivity, even though it was agreed that they will be released almost right away if they surrender in Azovstal. But Russians broke the deal and they released few hundred of Azovstal defenders, but many hundreds of them are still in Russia. Well, luckily the command of Azov was released and now they operate out there in Mariupol. So the command is the same and they're striking back as the revenge. This is Azovstal itself. It was the fortress for Ukrainian defenders for a very, very long time. Well, nothing is left, just ruins. It's not functioning facility. Oh, this is the theater, you see, which Russia bombed. There were hundreds of people underground, also kids, and Russia just destroyed it. Ukrainians put DT, so kids up front, but I hate Russian pilots and Russian military in general. They're barbarians, they're like nothing to do with humanity from their side, absolutely. And I'm sure that Ukraine will return to Mariupol, not just with the drones, but one day fully, with not just military, not just Azov, but also civilians who live their normal, usual, peaceful lives. One day it will happen, and the collapse of Russia, of Russian regime, is inevitable. I also believe in that. I'm sure it's just a matter of time. And events happening in Russia, I mean, those long-range strikes, and kind of the clumsy parade that lasted 45 minutes, that's the shortest one in the history of Russia, that was only possible because of Donald Trump and Zelensky's decree. Well, it shows that Putin is losing his power in Russia, absolutely. He's not that mighty dictator any longer. He's a crazy midget prick who doesn't realize that he has already lost. He lost the war in February of 2022, and this war of attrition just grinds him down more and more. Him and Russia, all together. Yeah, Putin's advisor Ushakov already stated that there will be no rocket attacks on Kiev because Ukraine let Russian parade to happen. That's basically what he said. There will be no strikes on capital city of Ukraine because there were no strikes on the Red Square. Red Square only. What about the other regions of Russia? Ushakov, what's about your oil, which is burning sometimes? And you lost like 50% of the export capabilities, volcanoes eruptions in Tuapse, Ust-Luga, Primorsk, Novorossiysk, elsewhere. But no, the Red Square, oh, we're gonna strike everyone for the Red Square. This is our main saint point of entire Russia, which is understandable, yeah, because Russia built itself as the propaganda machine on this kind of the broken ideology of the Second World War. It was a great thing, you know, that allies won it, but the victory of Soviet Union was possible just with American support, with support of allies. Yes, Soviet Union sacrificed lots of people, millions of people, and it was the main physical kinetic hammer to crush Nazi Germany. But again, they had the support, massive support from allies. If Ukraine had this support via Lend-Lease, not that Lend-Lease that was agreed by Biden and nothing was supplied through the Lend-Lease actually. It was just congressional packages approval every time for Ukraine once in a few months. So Lend-Lease, as it was in the Second World War, didn't work for us. But if it was, just imagine what Ukraine might do to the Russian army on its own territory. Crazy. Russians were scared about Lend-Lease, but without their own, they couldn't be victorious in the Second World War. I'm absolutely sure about it. Ushakov commented Zelensky's decree, which allows Russia to conduct its military parade. By the way, you see Slovakian flag in the background. There was already the meeting between Fico and Putin. And Ushakov, he's disturbed about this decree of Zelensky, like, how could I comment that? This is outrageous. This is clown circus show. No, clown circus show was today on the Red Square. Yesterday Peskov, today Ushakov, they were humiliated by that, of course. They didn't know what to say. This decree, Zelensky. This is funny. This is really it. My friends, just a short break. Please press like to this video. Right now while you're watching it, press like. And also subscribe for the channel if you haven't been subscribed. We are on the way to reach 1 million subscribers. And also, if you can, you may support this channel via Patreon. The link for it is in the video description right below. And also, you may join the membership of YouTube channel by pressing button join. Thank you guys so much. You're making this content possible. You're fantastic. You're amazing. And let's continue with the video. Right, from those parades, let's go to awesome news coming from Brave One company. It's the software and also company itself that producing some of the components for Ukrainian army, and they introduced the automatic turret that aims and predicts the movement of the Russian drones and shuts them down. As you see, this is the turret. So far, Brave One supported the manufacturer as early as the prototype stage. So for now, tests are ongoing, but Brave One is the system itself, and they support some of the producers, designers, and if they do well, okay, they have the contract from Ukrainian government, from Ukrainian military. Now K2 Ukrainian drone unit is testing this feature to shut down enemy drones, and it could really work. Well, now there's the ceasefire, but we have videos published from a couple of days ago from Lazar's group, for example, and how they use their drone drops to hit Russian munition and Russian vehicles. This is the Russian rocket artillery system that was targeted with this drone drop, very successful strike. And you see ammunition went kaboom, and not just, wow, this is the huge one, nothing is left from this vehicle. And of course they continue the strikes on other vehicles, fantastic job. And Lazarus, it is one of the best drone units out there, but they mostly specialized on the drone drops, far behind the front lines, by the way, up to 50 kilometers, they fly easily on Baba Yaga drones or vampire drones they called. And with this new aiming equipment that counts altitude, speed, they may hit even moving targets. It is outstanding. Russians, they don't have this technology. Right, and here we have a demonstration video of the new aiming system based on machine vision. It has been produced in Ukraine. So on land, on water, in the air, it may aim the targets. It could be used by the drone interceptors, by FPV drones to target something. You see that the tank over the horizon immediately spotted. So it is the machine vision capable to recognize what is moving. The only thing, and I guess it's critical, whether this thing is capable to define a civilian target and military, because drone operators, they understand how military things they look like. Well, in the air, it's understandable. Everything which is flying, it looks like the Russian drone, and mass use of AI-powered drones. So it's the part of AI. After all, I was maybe wrong with my assumption that it's just a machine vision. It has nothing to do with AI. It's the different technology. But maybe it's definitely the part of AI that flies automatically after spotting the target. Well, I think the human factor still should be there at least at some point, at some level. But we are moving closer to technologies that will allow drones to operate fully autonomously, selecting any sort of the targets which AI thinks are more valuable. And that's one more step to Skynet. As for me, unfortunately, but every war is propelling some of the technologies, and this war is about drone technologies and AI. Yeah, sorry guys, I put some of the censorship, but this is the real Russian parade near Malatakmachka. Yeah, Magyar helped Russians to organize that one. This is how it looks like, reality. What you see in a red square is just a show, but if Russians join Russian army, they will not participate those kind of parades. They will go to Malatakmachka or Malatakmachka, and Ukraine helps them to keep the line, yes. Okay, Donny, about the possible continuation of the ceasefire or truce between Russia and Ukraine, he says that maybe it will be prolonged, but I do not believe in that. I think Russia may violate the ceasefire, which is ongoing. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after tomorrow, we'll see. I hope that they will join this major exchange of the prisoners of war. This is the most important feature about this ceasefire. But Russia is not interested in ending this war yet, and Putin will never be. For him, it's the existential war already, for his power, for himself personally. So he will continue it. The war might be over only with Putin losing his power. Maybe it will be over. Maybe it will be continued by similar kind of regime, but without Putin's kaput or without him losing the power, there is no chance for it to over. I believe in that, guys. Judging on what we see, rhetorics of Russian Federation, Russian Circle, Putin himself, he is all charged in to continue his special military operation until reaching some sort of the goals which he is unable to reach. It's already evident. And I think Russia needs a couple of more days of the ceasefire to put their air defense systems from Moscow to regions of Russia to protect really valuable infrastructural facilities. So for Ukraine, it would be harder to penetrate Russian defense after 11th of May. And Russia, by the way, they have air defense systems in production. And according to the newest information, Russia wants to form one more ring around Moscow. So their main efforts are to protect Moscow and Putin. It's like a separate country, you know, this Moscow part. And Russians themselves, they are saying like that. There is Moscow and there is Russia. And of course, the main thing for Putin, Russian propaganda, Russian regime is to keep Moscow safe. Other regions, well, who cares, you know. Kursk Oblast was attacked by Ukraine in 2024, and Russians didn't really care that much, especially those guys in Moscow. Russian society is too much divided to feel that pressure. Just imagine if some other country would be attacked, like so part of it, even small. All of the country would be united, yeah? But in Russia, no. It's their problem. Kursk, Belgrade, who cares? Yeah, Fico is there, he put some flowers and he didn't go to parade itself, it seems like, but he met with Putin, of course, and he is the only European representative out there in Russia. By the way, a NATO member country. I think it's disgrace. By the time Russia has started a full-scale war in Europe and threatens European Union, NATO member and the member of EU is out there celebrating with Putin. Of course, it's terrible, and the next time I hope Slovak people will do same as Hungarians did recently. And by the way, today is the last day for Orban. I think afternoon, yeah, he already left his office and will never return. Fantastic job, Hungarians. You're awesome. Okay, subtitles are presented by Ukrainian Witness channel on Telegram. Here, a Russian correspondent is asking this woman, like, do you remember them? And usually people in Russia, they carry their relatives, yeah, on those kind of the parades. In some of the regions of Russia, there are a number of the regions where even those kind of the activities were cancelled because of the drone alarms. So this correspondent asked, do you remember them? And this is my son missing in action, so missing on special military operation, and this is one more relative of her who lost his life in the Second World War. Yeah, he's missing, he's like lost in Ukraine. So you have such a double holiday today. Праздник, it means like you have a double celebration. Celebration. I congratulate you on the holiday, on the day of victory, and have a good day today. Yay! And she's like, yeah, thank you. Look at how cheerful she really is. Oh, this is the holiday. Congratulations. Have a great day. This is hilarious.
Скажите мне, пожалуйста, что за портрет у вас?
And this is the red square. And on Russia 1, Russia 1, we have the subtitles. What kind of the portrait do you have in your hands?
Родной старший брат.
Their older brother, yeah.
Я так понимаю, он погиб на СВО?
He died on SMO?
Ну, в него улетел дрон.
Well, a drone flew into him. Why? What happened?
Давно случилось?
В октябре прошлого года.
In October the last year. Well, it's interesting that they really showed this picture on Russia 1. Right, Russians, continue your celebrations, and Ukraine will continue its drone operations for you to carry more placards the next time. Right, Peskov already mentioned that achieving the peace negotiation with Ukraine will take lots of the time, or long time. According to Russian press secretary, United States wants to expedite negotiations, but we have to solve the war in Ukraine, and this resolving is still very complicated. He also announced that the way to reach the peace agreement is connected to very difficult and complicated details. So Russia is not planning to ceasefire. Like, what is happening now in Iran, even, is closer to some of the agreement than in Russia and Ukraine. Well, it's kind of the fragile, it went to the hot stage recently, but still, there is no major shooting between Americans and Iranians any longer, and Iran is not attacking that much nearby countries. They launched some of the projectiles to hit civilian ships, they also targeted one of the refineries in UAE, but it was their smaller response on some of the Hormuz's liberation operation, which Donald Trump announced. So sometimes provocations are happening there, but there is no major escalation. In Ukraine, it's not happening like that. The truce will last just for 3 days. Russia is not planning to extend it, so there will be the full-scale war once again. And as we see, Russia is planning to reach their goals. Still, they're not ready for the ceasefire. Remember this meeting between Zelensky, Trump in the Oval Office, this kind of the outrageous one, and Donald Trump said, "You don't have cards." There was the question about the ceasefire, and Ukraine, after all, agreed on the ceasefire. But Russia, no. Russia doesn't need the ceasefire, really, because they're attacking Ukrainian positions with new waves. I was shocked, actually, that they agreed even for 3 days, because it will allow Ukraine to regroup the forces in defense. So for Ukraine, the longer the ceasefire, the better. For Russia, no. They want to prepare more of the infantry, small infiltration attacks, and so on. They need to keep Ukraine always busy in repelling those smaller attacks. And after those 3 days, for them, it will be harder to gain more ground than it was before. Especially right now, then Russia started the spring and summer campaign, attacking on the front lines, and they might lose their pace actually in those 3 days. Well, at least I hope that it will be like that. Ukraine has the precious time to regroup the forces, but the fights out there on the front lines, they still continue. And Russia also recently hit the Ukrainian infrastructure facility in Dnipropetrovsk Oblast. Yes, also by the time there is the truce. But however, yes, definitely the major strikes, they stopped from both sides. But it's just 3 days, nothing more we should expect here, unfortunately. I hope this war comes to its end, but with the Russian regime, with the Russian management, I do not really believe that it's gonna end anytime soon. Nice outfit. That's the Vnukovo airport, Moscow, and this Russian female complains that their flight has been cancelled. After all, there were multiple of the delays because of the Ukrainian drone threats, and here we go, she's with infant, and yeah, they were 24 hours in this airport, I guess. There are some of the losses. Turkish Airlines, they took the ticket for that one. We haven't flown anywhere, we don't have any sort of the information. The sport outfit, interesting. For the gym, but for airport, oh, they have losses. Someone's just sleeping, come on. Lots of the people, they're waiting for the flights, but yeah, nothing is happening, nothing. One more Russian female says that she is looking through Ukrainian Telegram channels. Why do you use Telegram? It has been blocked by Russia. Come on, do you have VPN? Why do you use VPN? This is not according to the Russian patriotic standard. Come on, don't use Telegram. Well, she says that the Ukrainians are too much cheerful about those long-range strikes, and Russia will respond on them on 10th of May. Well, 10th of May is truce. It was agreed by Trump, by Putin himself. They say it's okay. So 10th of May, no, sorry. And she's like, we're gonna hit them really hard.
Найден самый...
You heard it, right? On the background. Sirens. It's her wake-up call the next morning. Why do they all look like ducks with those lips? Is it a Russian trend? Ukraine definitely hit some of the facilities out there in Russia. This is the infrastructural object, maybe power plant in Rostov Oblast. It was hit the last night. Ukraine fired before midnight, and after midnight, no launches. Yeah, it works like that. Technically, everything is tip-top. Oh, it wasn't a power plant there in Rostov region. It was a radar STC involved in deployment of radar and EV systems. Deployment, maybe production, I guess. One of the largest buildings was kaputted. Interesting. That's the most recent strike, and I think that there will be no strikes for the next 3 days or 2 days which are left, but of course Ukraine will resume those after the ceasefire, because Russia will not extend it. And yesterday, the air traffic control center in Rostov airport was also hit. Well, no one was inside because Rostov airport is closed for commercial traffic. But what is interesting about this one, that it was hit not by the drone, but by the HIMARS system. And before, Russia said multiple of the times that if Russian territory has been hit by American or NATO-made missiles, we're going to retaliate, we're going to escalate against those countries. Well, try now. This is American weaponry, so I guess you should escalate on the United States, yeah, on your friend Donny, Putin, come on, do it. And this is how the building looks like from outside, and it's been used, I mean, this airfield in Rostov, just by the Russian military. HIMARS Hall is pretty much visible here, yeah, very accurate, like surgeon operation. Russian channels are full of those memes. The only president that allowed something in Russia. The only president that allowed something in Russia. Now live with that, they say. This is hilarious, and they're themselves making fun about it. Crazy. Yeah, Putin only applies restrictions, forbids everything, blocks internet, but come on, Zelensky allowed something to happen in Russia. Military parade. Russians, you should be grateful. Have you said thank you, Russians? Come on, say thank you. Okay, I was too much optimistic about those Russian Z bloggers who criticize Putin. I thought that, oh, it's the surprise that they have not been arrested or something. But no, this guy who told about a very terrible situation in the Russian army and that Putin is guilty about it, he has been arrested and was prosecuted according to articles 119 and 167 for extremism and also for fakes about the Russian army. Also 163rd UKRF, some sort of the blackmailing in attempt to get money. I guess I translated like that from Russian. Well, anyways, he's been arrested and he said that he will go to war on the front lines from prison. Yeah, he recorded the last video, he published it. His call sign is Voyevoda and he's a pilot of K-52. Will go for infantry. I already told about his case in one of previous videos, I guess 2 weeks ago, something like that. And here's one more Russian Z blogger. Well, they all look the same, but this is the different guy. His call sign is 13th. He has been lost on the front lines. He's been sent there already. Before, by the way, he also was arrested. He accused Putin of lots of the terrible stuff, what is happening in the Russian army, Russian economy in general. Putin is a liar, and since April 27th, there is no connection with this guy. So he published a very big post about Putin saying that he's a liar, lies every day, and now the admins of his Telegram channel, they're saying that he is missing. The guy is no longer probably with us, and his channel was really big. Again, Russians are using Telegram, yes, still, but with only VPN. VPNs so far are not being blocked in Russia. And here we have a diagnosis of the Russian society. They, oh shit, what is happening in their schools? They put kids in military uniform. They're sick. From what I see, Putin is ready to go on war for generations. He will not live that long, but still he militarizes his society more and more and more and more. Oh, those are the vehicles which were presented on the military. Well, this is some sort of the small town out there in Russia, and we have those kind of the pictures there. This is great. Is it normal? Of course not. And by the way, the war of Russia against Ukraine goes longer than their Great Patriotic War. Crazy, yeah? Shit. They call them infantry. in announcement they call like, this is the row of our new infantry. This could not be real. No. This couldn't be real, right? Right? This is real? Is it? I think that's real. Guys, this is beyond understanding. Looks like real, right? I don't know what to say. Russian society is sick if it is the truthful video. Well, I wouldn't be surprised actually at this point if it's real. Alright guys, in the evening I'm gonna update you with more news because there are some of the changes on the front line as well. Despite ceasefire, we have something to speak about, alright? And also please support my job on Patreon if you can. The link for it is in the video description below. Or join membership of YouTube channel if you watch me on YouTube because I also publish on Spotify. Also please don't forget to press like to this video and also subscribe for the channel. By doing so, you also help me a lot and this content in general. My friends, you're awesome. I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.